Hello students of class 12. Once again welcome back to your biology class. So today in our class we will know about the chapter of human health and diseases. First, the foremost and the primary thing is you have to know what do you mean by health. Health is a state of complete physical, mental and social well-being. And health increases the longevity of the people and reduces the infant and the maternal mortality rate. How is good health maintained? It is maintained by balanced diet, personal hygiene, regular exercise, yoga, vaccination against infectious diseases, proper disposal of waste, control of vectors, and maintenance of hygiene, food, and water resources. Our mind influences the immune system through the neural and the endocrine system. When the functions or functioning of any organ or system of the body is adversely affected, then it is called a disease. These diseases causing organism are known as pathogens. Diseases can be categorized into infectious and non-infectious diseases. What are the infectious diseases? These infectious diseases are those diseases which are easily transmitted from one infected person to the other, and it is due to the extrinsic factors. Extrinsic factors means the pathogen. And public health and personal hygiene reduces the probability of this disease. You can give some examples of infectious diseases: HIV, tetanus, hepatitis B. Okay, and what are the non-infectious diseases? These diseases are not transmitted from one person to another. Non-infectious diseases can have both extrinsic as well as intrinsic factors, like deficiency diseases or any hereditary factors also can cause these diseases. Public health and personal hygiene are very ineffective in this case. You can give an example of cancer. Okay, now we will know about the common infectious diseases in human beings. First, you have to know the infectious diseases can be categorized into bacterial, viral, protozoan, fungal, and helminthic diseases. So first we will discuss in detail about the bacterial diseases. Bacterial diseases are those diseases which are caused due to bacterial infections. So first example is typhoid. What is the causative agent, or what is the name of the pathogen which causes the disease of typhoid? It is caused by the bacteria Salmonella typhi. And how is typhoid spread? By contaminated food and water. And this bacteria generally enters the small intestine and then migrates to other organs through blood. What are the symptoms of typhoid? Constant high fever, weakness, stomach pain, loss of appetite, constipation, headache, intestinal perforations, and in severe cases, death may even take place. So, from each type of disease, you have to know the name of the pathogen, the mode of transmission, and its symptoms. Okay. Now, our next bacterial disease to be discussed is typhoid. We have discussed right now. Okay, typhoid. Mary Mallon, named Typhoid Mary, was the professional cook, and this typhoid disease was first said to be carried by her. She was the typhoid carrier who continued to spread the typhoid for several years through the food she prepared. This is mainly believed. Next bacterial disease is pneumonia. What is the causative organism? Streptococcus pneumoniae and Haemophilus influenzae. These are the causative organisms for causing the disease of pneumonia. What happens here? This pneumonia, in this disease, the bacteria infect the alveoli or the air-filled sacs of the lungs, where the alveoli gets filled with the fluid, resulting in the decrease of respiratory efficiency of the lungs. And it is spread by inhaling the droplets or aerosol from the infected person and sharing the glasses and utensils with the infected person. What are the symptoms of pneumonia? Fever, chills, cough, headache, and in severe cases, lips and finger they turn gray to bluish in color due to this infection. Okay, so Streptococcus pneumoniae and Haemophilus influenzae is the causative organism. This is all you have to know: the name of the pathogen, their mode of transmission, and the symptoms. Next, viral disease. Viral diseases are those diseases which is caused due to the attack of the virus. First, we will discuss about the common cold. It is caused by a group of viruses called rhinovirus. This virus infect the nasal epithelium and the respiratory passage, but not the lungs. Their attack lasts for about 3 to 7 days, and it spreads by the contaminated objects, which a person who had common cold already had a touch with the droplets. What are the symptoms? The nasal congestion and discharge, sore throat, hoarseness, cough, headache, tiredness. This is the normal common cold we always have. Most of us always have or had this common cold. This is not so severe type of viral infection. Okay, next, malaria or dengue fever. Plasmodium species, Plasmodium vivax, Plasmodium malariae, Plasmodium falciparum, these cause most malaria. And these protozoan disease, that is the malaria, it's caused by the biting of the female Anopheles mosquito. And this hemozoin, which is a toxin released by the Plasmodium, causes chill and high fever, which comes on recurring after every 3 to 4 days. And you have to know about the life cycle of Plasmodium. The life cycle of Plasmodium, what happens here? If you see the chart, you can understand very carefully. So observe it. First, what happens? If you start, you will see it has been divided into one is mosquito host, another is the human host. Okay, so let us start from the human host. Okay, what happens when the mosquito bites another human protozoites, and the sporozoites are injected with the bite, and after that the parasites or the sporozoites they reach the liver through blood. Then what happens? The parasite reproduces asexually in liver cells and bursts the cells and release into the blood. After that, the parasite reproduces asexually in the red blood cells and bursts the red blood cell and causing the cycles of fever and other symptoms. Released parasites infect now red blood cell, and the sexual stages or the gametocytes are developed in the RBC. These stages take place in the human host, and after that these gametocytes, the female mosquito takes up this gametocyte with the blood meal, and fertilization and development takes place in the mosquito's intestine, and after that the mature infected stages or the sporozoites escape from the intestine and migrate to the mosquito's salivary gland. These steps again are taken within the mosquito, within the body of the mosquito, female mosquito, and again it is getting transmitted to the human host. Okay, and this cycle is constantly getting repeated. Next protozoan disease is amoebiasis or amoebic dysentery. It is caused by an intestinal endoparasite, Entamoeba histolytica, which is found in the large intestine of human. Here, housefly act as the mechanical carrier and transmit the parasite from feces of infected person to the food. An infection takes place through contaminated food and water. Okay, now what are the symptoms of amoebiasis or amoebic dysentery? Abdominal pain will take place, constipation will be occurring, cramps and stool with excess mucus, and blood clots will be taking place. Next, helminth disease. Helminthic disease. First, Ascariasis. It is caused by intestinal endoparasite in human named Ascaris lumbricoides, commonly known as the roundworm. And the eggs of parasites are excreted along with the feces of the infected person which contaminate water, soil and plants, and this infection takes place through contaminated vegetables, fruits and the water which is consumed. Now what are the symptoms? Abdominal pain, indigestion, internal bleeding, muscular pain, fever, anemia, nausea and headache, blockage of intestinal passage. These are the symptoms of ascariasis. Next, filariasis, or we can say as elephantiasis. The causative organism is a filarial worm known as Wucheria bancrofti and Wucheria malayi. The female Culex mosquito is the vector. What is the symptoms? Inflammation of the organ in which they live. Blockage of the lymph vessels of the lower limbs take place, resulting in the swelling. Lower limbs appear like legs of elephant, so the name elephantiasis. Genital organs may also be affected, leading to the deformation. Okay. Next, fungal disease is caused by the fungus. One you have to study here. One is the ringworm, which is caused by the fungi of genera Microsporum, Trichophyton, and Epidermophyton. Okay, and human infections occurs either through contact with the infected person or from soil. It also spreads through towels, clothes, combs of the infected person. What are the symptoms of ringworm disease? Dry and scaly lesions on the skin, nails and scalp take place. Lesions are accompanied by intense itching. Okay, here you can see the picture of ringworm. You have to know the causative organism, how it spreads, what are the symptoms. Okay, I think you are able to understand this. The ringworm, this is very common nowadays. Okay, one thing more you have to read here is from the viral disease you have to know about the dengue fever, because this is very prevalent nowadays. Dengue fever is caused by the virus flavivirus, and so the causative organism is the flavivirus, and dengue is transmitted by the bite of a mosquito infected with one of the 4 dengue virus serotypes. It is a febrile illness which affects the infant, young children and adults, with symptom of appearing 3 to 14 days after the infective bite. There is no vaccine or any specific medicine yet to the disease of dengue. People who have dengue fever should rest and drink plenty of fluids. What are the symptoms of this dengue fever? High fever, severe headache, pain behind the eyes, muscle and joint pain, and rashes over the body. Another is chikungunya. It is also caused by an alpha virus which is known as chikungunya virus. It is generally spread from the bite of Anopheles aegypti mosquitoes, and the best means of prevention is overall mosquito control and the avoidance of bites by any infected mosquito, and no specific treatment is yet known, but medications can be used to reduce the symptoms of this chikungunya. What are the symptoms? The infected person will have fever up to 104 degree Fahrenheit, severe joint pain, muscle pain will take place, headache will occur, nausea, fatigue and rashes over the body can also be seen in some cases. Next is prevention and control of diseases. Now following measures can be taken to prevent the control of the infectious diseases. What are those? First, you have to maintain the proper hygiene by keeping the body clean. You have to consume clean drinking water, clean food, vegetables and fruits should be properly washed before consuming. Second is maintenance of proper hygiene should be maintained, proper disposal of the waste and excreta, periodic cleaning and disinfection of water reservoirs and the pools should also be taken, and eradication of vectors and the breeding places of these infectious disease causing organisms should be taken care of so that they can't breed. Use of mosquito nets can also be done. Then what else? Vaccination and immunization programs for disease like polio, diphtheria, tetanus. Use of antibiotics and drugs to treat the infected persons can also be taken. Stagnation of water, it should be to control and elimination of the vectors of the mosquitoes. You have to prevent the stagnation of water, regular cleaning of household coolers, because coolers can be the breeding ground for the mosquitoes. Then mosquito nets should be used. Then elimination of the vectors, introduction of very those fishes like gambusia which can eat up the mosquitoes in the ponds can also be given up. Spraying of insecticides in ditches, drainage and swamps. Okay, so these all provided. You have to provide the doors and the windows with wire mesh so that the mosquitoes can't get inside. This is prevention against mosquitoes. Okay, so vaccines and immunizations, this can also be given. Now we will know about immunity. What is immunity? Immunity is the ability of an organism to resist or defend itself from the development of any disease. Immunity can be two types. One is innate immunity, another is the acquired immunity. Innate immunity is the inborn immunity, and acquired immunity is the adaptive immunity, which is not directly from the birth. So we will discuss about innate immunity first. This innate immunity is present from the birth, and that is inherited from parents, and it is non-specific, and it is accomplished by providing different types of barriers. What type of barriers? Physical barriers, physiological barriers, cellular barriers, and cytokine barriers. Physical barriers do not allow pathogens and the foreign agents to enter the body. What are the physical barriers? Your skin, mucous membrane of the digestive, respiratory and urinogenital tract. What they do, they trap the microorganisms from entering the body. These are the physical barriers. Physiological barriers means the sweat, tear, acid in the stomach and saliva which prevent the microbial growth. Cellular barriers are WBCs, and the macrophages, what they do, they phagocytose and destroy the microbes, the lymphocyte, the leukocyte, the monocyte. They are the natural killers. They destroy any foreign particles which enter within your body. And cytokine barriers are the interferons which are produced by the virus infected cells, okay, which protect the non-infected cells from further viral infections. Okay, this is the cellular barrier. You can see the neutrophil, monophil, natural killer cells and macrophages which destroy any foreign particle entering our body. Okay, cytokine barriers, these are the virus infected cells which secrete a cytokine protein called interferon, and these protect the non-infected cells from further viral infections. Next, acquired immunity. This acquired immunity is not present from the birth and develops during an individual's lifetime. It is pathogen specific and has the ability to distinguish the diverse type of foreign molecules or antigens. When the immune system encounters a pathogen for the first time, what happens? A primary response is produced, which is of low intensity within the body, and the memory of this encounter with the same pathogen is also formed. On subsequent encounter with the same pathogen again, a secondary response is produced, which is of very high intensity. Okay, so this acquired immunity, this immune response basically produces two types of lymphocyte. First is the B lymphocyte, second is the T lymphocyte. The B lymphocyte or the B cells, they produce an army of protein called antibodies in the blood in response to the pathogen. Okay, and this T lymphocyte or the T cells, what they do, they help the B cells to produce the antibodies within the body. Now, acquired immune response or immunities, they develop within the body. One is the humoral immune response, another is the cell mediated immune response. Humoral immune response, or we can say the antibody mediated immunity. It is mediated by antibodies in the blood and the lymph. And cell mediated immune response or cell mediated immunity, it is mediated by the T lymphocyte and is responsible for graft rejection in organ transplant because of its ability to differentiate between self and non-self. Okay, so this is the acquired immunity. It is the immune response mediated by the T lymphocyte, I said. Okay, so organ transplantation, during organ transplantation, it should be very compatible with the donors and the recipient's blood group. Otherwise, it will not be compatible and coagulation may take place, and the person who is having the transplant may even die. Clear? Now this active immunity and the passive immunity, both can have natural and artificial, both can be natural and artificial. Natural active immunity is developed during the natural infection by microbes, and artificial active immunity is developed by injecting the microbes deliberately during the process of immunization. Clear? So you can see in the diagram, in this slide, the ready-made antibodies, these are directly given to the body. These antibodies from mother to placenta to the fetus, and antibodies in colostrum in the milk to the infant. This is the natural passive immunity. An artificial passive immunity is the anti-tetanus serum or whatever the vaccination is provided. Immunization program. Immunization, immunization is the immunity. It's the vaccines are generated to the memory B and the T cells, and they recognize the pathogen very quickly. That is the vaccination. Vaccine basically is the mild dose of that germ injected so that the symptoms does not appear, but antibody within the body appears very easily. Okay, it is the direct injection of pre-formed antibodies or antitoxin. It is basically required for quick immune response, and the body produces the antibody against that particular pathogen. Okay, that is the vaccination. It is the process of introduction of weakened and inactivated pathogens or the proteins into the person to provide protection against the disease. The vaccination and immunization are based on the property called as memory of the immune system, and the vaccine generate memory that recognizes the pathogen on subsequent exposure and produce an intense immune response. Okay, now we will discuss about the allergy. What is allergy? The exaggerated or hypersensitive reaction of the immune system to certain antigens present in the environment is called allergy. The substances or agents which produce an immune response in an individual are called allergens. Allergens can be of different types. You can give some examples of pollen grain, animal dander, dust, feathers. Different drugs are also producing allergies to some individuals. Immunoglobulin E antibodies are produced in response to allergens. And what is the cause? Chemicals like histamine and serotonin released from the mast cells. What is the symptoms? Different symptoms may take place in allergies like sneezing, watery eyes, running nose, difficulty in breathing. Breathing problem may take place. Okay, and different drugs like antihistamine, adrenaline, and steroids quickly reduce the symptoms of allergy. Next, autoimmunity. Autoimmunity is an abnormal immune response in which the immune system of the body starts rejecting its own body cells or self cells and the molecules. For example, rheumatoid arthritis, Addison's disease, these are the examples. Next, human immune system. What are the components of the immune system? Lymphoid gland or lymphoid organ, immune cells, soluble molecules like antibodies, and lymphoid tissues. These are the basically 4 components of the immune system. Now this lymphoid organs can be categorized into primary lymphoid organ and secondary lymphoid organ. What are the primary lymphoid organ? The organs where lymphocytes originate and mature to become antigen sensitive. Example, bone marrow and thymus. These are known as the primary lymphoid organ. Bone marrow, what is bone marrow? It is the primary lymphoid organ where all the blood cell including the lymphocytes originate. Bone marrow, they produce the microenvironment for the development and maturation of the B lymphocyte. And what is thymus? It is a lobed organ which is located near your heart and beneath the breastbone. It is quite large at the time of birth but reduces with age, and it provides microenvironment for the development and the maturation of the T lymphocytes. Okay, the bone marrow and the thymus are the primary lymphoid organ. Now, what are the secondary lymphoid organ? The organs where lymphocytes interact with the antigens and proliferate to become effector cells. Example: spleen, lymph nodes, tonsils, Peyer's patches of small intestine and appendix. These are called the secondary lymphoid organs. Spleen, lymph nodes, and MALT. Spleen is a very large bean-shaped organ and it contains lymphocyte and phagocytes. And it acts as filter of the blood by trapping the blood-borne microorganisms, and it has a very large reservoir of erythrocytes. And lymph nodes are small, very solid structures which is present at different points along the lymphatic system, and they also trap the microorganism or other antigens that enter the lymph and the tissue fluid. And antigens trapped in the lymph nodes activate the lymphocyte and produce the immune response of the body. Okay, and another is the MALT, M-A-L-T, mucosal associated lymphoid tissue. What is that? It is formed of masses of lymphoid tissue lining the mucosa of the respiratory, digestive, and urinogenital tract. Okay, and 50% of the lymphoid tissue in the human body is formed by MALT, M-A-L-T, mucosa associated lymphoid tissue. Next, we will discuss about AIDS, acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. It was first reported in USA in 1981, and it is caused by human immunodeficiency virus or HIV virus. The name of the virus or the causative organism of AIDS is human immunodeficiency virus. It belongs to the group of retrovirus, and it has it has a very RNA. It has RNA genome enclosed within the envelope. How is HIV transmitted? HIV is transmitted by sexual contact with the infected person, by transmission of or transfusion of contaminated blood and blood products, by sharing infected needles from infected mother to her child, also through placenta. Okay, high risk individuals who are of high risk for having this AIDS disease. Those who have multiple sex partners are in the high risk zone. Drug addict taking the drug intravenously are also at high risk. Individuals who require repeated blood transfusions also have a high risk of having AIDS, and children who are born to an infected mother. Diagnosis of this AIDS is done by ELISA test. ELISA, E-L-I-S-A, enzyme linked immunosorbent assay. This is the name of the test by which AIDS can be detected. ELISA test. Okay. There is a time tag between 5 to 10 years between the infection and appearance of the symptom. So it is not that a person is having AIDS and on the second day is having the symptoms. It may be after 10 years also the symptom may persist within the individual. Okay, now life cycle of HIV, very important. After getting into the body of the person, the virus enters the macrophages. Here RNA is replicated and it forms the viral DNA by enzyme reverse transcriptase, and this viral DNA will now get incorporated within the host's DNA and it will directly infect the cell to produce the virus. And these macrophages will continue to produce the virus particles. The virus particles will enter the helper T lymphocyte, that is the Th cells in the blood, where they will continue to replicate and they will produce the viral progenies. So the number of the helper T lymphocyte will progressively decrease within the body of the infected person. With this decrease of number of T cell, the immunity also will decrease and this person will be unable to produce any immune response even against the common bacteria like mycobacterium parasite. So any minor infection cannot be withstand by the person will very severely be infected even with a small disease, even with a very minimal disease, suppose common cold, and that will not cure within the body of that person. Okay, what are the preventive measures? National AIDS Control Organization or NACO, NACO, established in 1991, and other NGOs educate people about AIDS. WHO, that is WHO, it started a number of programs to prevent the spreading of HIV infections, like making blood from blood banks safe from HIV, ensuring the use of only disposable needles and syringes, free distribution of condoms, controlling of drug abuse, then advocating safe sex and promoting regular checkups can be preventive measures taken against AIDS. Okay, but you always know prevention is better than cure. Okay, now we will discuss about cancer. Cancer is defined as the uncontrolled division or proliferation of cell without any differentiation. Basically, this is not any disease, but it is uncontrolled division of the cell takes place within the body. What are the characteristics of cancer cells? The cancer cells divide repeatedly with uncontrolled cell division. They don't require any extracellular growth factors. They lost the property of contact inhibition, and due to repeated division, what happens? The cell form a large number of tissue, which is called tumor, and the cells will pass from the tumor to new site for forming the secondary tumors. And this invasion of these cancerous cells from one part to the other part by body fluid is known as metastasis. Two types of cancers, one is benign, another is the malignant. Now, this benign tumor, it is non-cancerous tumor, and this does not show any metastasis, and they are non-invasive. That is, they don't pass from one part of the body to the other. And after a certain period of time, after reaching a certain size, they stop growth, and limited adherence occurs amongst the cells of the benign tumor, and it is very less fatal to the body. It is not very much dangerous, but the dangerous is the malignant tumor. It is a cancerous tumor, and it shows metastasis and infects other body parts. From one part of the body it can spread to another body part. And malignant tumor will show indefinite growth. It will not have any specification for growth. It will grow on continuously and spread from one part of the body to the other, and is very fatal to the body. Oncogenic virus have cancer-causing viral oncogen, and normal cells have gene which is known as cellular oncogen or proto-oncogen, which are present in inactivated state. But under certain conditions, what happens when it takes mutation? It gets transformed to cancer-causing oncogens. Now, what are the causes of cancer? Physical, chemical, and biological. Three types of agents. What are carcinogens? The cancer causing agent are called carcinogen. This cancer causing agent or causes of cancer, what we say, those things which cause cancer are known as carcinogens. Okay, and chemical agents like enzyme dyes, then benzopyrene, different chemicals which is present in the cigarette smoke, they cause this cancer. This is the chemical agent. And physical agent are the ionizing radiations like the X-rays, gamma rays, and UV rays. These are the physical agents. These may also cause cancer. And biological agents like different cancerous virus or oncogenic virus and different parasites, they can cause different cancers. These are the causes of cancer: chemical agent, physical agent, biological agent. Okay, now cancer detection. Okay, before that, one thing I want to tell you, that is there are different types of cancer. One is carcinoma, melanoma, sarcoma, and leukemia. Carcinoma is a cancer of epithelial tissue, which is known as the skin cancer. Melanoma is a cancer of the melanocyte of the skin. Sarcoma is the cancer of the mesodermal tissue, and leukemia or lymphoma is a cancer of hemopoietic cells or the blood cell, or what is known as the blood cancer. Now, cancer detection and diagnosis. Cancer detection and diagnosis can have different forms. What's biopsy, imaging technique, use of antibodies, molecular biology techniques. Okay. So first, the biopsy test, we can say a thin piece. What happens here? A thin piece of the suspended tissue is stained and examined under the microscope. Okay. And in case of leukemia, what happens, or the blood cancer, the biopsy and the histopathological studies, the blood and the bone marrow test for increased cell count. Okay. And blood and bone marrow tests are done for increasing the cell count in case of leukemia. And histopathological studies, I said, radiography or another is X-rays. These are used to detect the cancer of the internal organs. Computed tomography is used. X-ray is used here to generate the 3D image of the internal of the object. Resonance imaging is done, that is non-ionizing radiation. A strong magnetic field is used, which is known as the MRI, to accurately detect the pathological and physiological changes in the liver tissues. Imaging technique, that is known as resonance imaging. Different antibodies are used. The antibodies against cancer specific antigen for detection of certain cancers. Molecular biology technique to detect the cancer related gene. So carcinogens should be avoided by this type of individuals. Next, treatment of cancer. The common approaches are surgery, radiation therapy, chemotherapy, and immunotherapy. So, surgery, the tumor cells are removed with the help of surgery to check the spread of cancerous cells. Radiation therapy, a lethal radiation of tumor cells is done, taking proper care of the normal tissue surrounding the tumor mass. In chemotherapy, the cancerous cells are killed by several chemotherapeutic drugs, and these drugs exhibit the side effect. It can cause hair loss, anemia. Immunotherapy, in this method, what happens? The biological modifiers like alpha interferons are used with which activate the immune system and help in destroying the tumor cells. Okay, now drugs and alcohol abuse. I know this is a very uh, broad chapter. Lots of things are to be learned, but we have to know it in details. So have patience. Next is drugs, smoking, and alcohol abuse. When drugs and alcohol are taken for purposes other than medicines or taken in the amount of frequencies that impair physical, physiological, or psychological functions, it is known as drug abuse and alcohol abuse, respectively. Drugs belong to different categories. It can be opioids, it can be cannabinoids, or it can be coca alkaloids. Now, what are these opioids? Heroin is a depressant and it slows down the body function. Where from these opioids are found? Morphine is extracted from the latex of poppy plant. Poppy plant scientific name is Papaver somniferum. Heroin or smack is obtained by acetylation of morphine as a white odorless, bitterness crystalline compound. What is the mode of intake? Mode of intake by snorting and injection. What is the mode of action? They bind to specific opioid receptor in the central nervous system and gastrointestinal tract. What happens? What are the effects? Heroin is a depressant and slows down the body functions. Morphine is an effective sedative and also as a painkiller. So these drugs, when taken in small dose, act as medicine. When taken in much larger doses, they act as abuse. Cannabinoids, what are these? Source where from it is found? From the It is obtained from the inflorescence of the plant Cannabis sativa. Flower tops, leaves, and resins in various combinations. They produce the hashish, charas, marijuana, ganja. What is the mode of intake? By inhalation and oral ingestion. And what's the mode of action within the body? They interact with the cannabinoid receptor present in the brain and they affect the cardiovascular system of the body. Okay, next, coca alkaloid or cocaine, where from it is derived from the leaves and the young branches of South American plant, which is known as Erythroxylum coca. And what is the mode of intake? By sniffing and sorting. What's the mode of action? It has stimulating action on CNS and interferes with the transport of the neurotransmitter dopamine. What is the effect? Strong stimulant, and when taken in overdose, it causes headache, convulsions, hallucinations, and death due to cardiovascular or respiratory failure. Okay, and hallucinogens are also there. Hallucinogen, they are obtained from the plants of Atropa, belladonna, and the Datura species. And these drugs are called psychedelic drugs because they affect on the cerebrum and sense organ and affect thought, feelings, perception of the individual. Medically, these are given to the patients to cope with mental illness like depression and insomnia. Okay, next, tobacco. Source, tobacco plant, and mode of intake is it can be smoked, it can be chewed, It can be used as snuff, and it has nicotine, which stimulates the adrenal gland to release adrenaline and noradrenaline, which in turn increases the blood pressure and the heart rate. Very dangerous. What the effect? Increases the chances of lung cancer, bronchitis may take place, emphysema, coronary heart disease, cancer of the throat, gastric ulcer, cancer of the urinary bladder, etc. Have you found anything which is good for your health within these things? Within the drugs which I have told, nothing is good. So stay away from all these things. Chewing of tobacco also cause oral cancer and becomes fatal in extreme condition. And alcohol, mode of intake oral, and anesthetic effect on the nervous system. Peptic ulcer, gastric carcinoma, hepatitis, liver failure may take place due to all these things. Smoking, tobacco, alcohol, hallucinogens, and different types of drugs. Okay, so it's better to prevent all, to be safe from all this. Now, this adolescence and drug alcohol abuse. The psychological attachment to certain effect like euphoria and temporary feeling of well-being associated with the drugs and alcohol is called addiction. Now, reasons. What are the reasons for alcohol abuse in adolescence? Social pressure, curiosity to know, uh, curiosity for the need of adventure, excitement, and experiment, to escape from stress, depression, and frustration, to overcome hardships of daily life, unstable or unsupportive family structures are the reasons for alcohol abuse in adolescence. Okay, now the tendency of the body to manifest or the characteristic and unpleasant withdrawal symptom on abrupt discontinuation of the regular dose of drug alcohol is called dependence. What are the characteristics of the withdrawal symptoms? Anxiety, nausea, vomiting, insomnia, restlessness, shakiness, sweating, diarrhea, muscular and abdominal cramps may take place. Okay, if the person is having some withdrawal symptom, but proper counseling should be taken. Clear. Now, what are the effect of drug and alcohol abuse? This has anesthetic effect on the nervous system, affecting the cerebrum, followed by the cerebellum and other parts. It affects the nervous system. Loss of judgment, willpower, and self-control takes place. Loss of emotional control, loss of moral sense, visual problems, staggering and incoherent speech, inflammation of the axonal neuron may take place. Okay, these are the various side effects. Drop in academic performance, absence from school, college, lack of interest in personal hygiene, isolation, depression, deteriorating relationship with family members. And those who take drugs intravenously, they have a very high risk of AIDS and hepatitis B. This also are the things which take place, or these are the warning signs of alcohol and drug abuse. Clear. Now in males, you can see what are the side effects which take place. This is given properly. And also in females, what side effects take place due to alcohol abuse. Okay, the side effects you have to know, the effect of drug and alcohol abuse, and the prevention and control. If you have to, what are the methods to take prevention and control? Avoid undue peer pressure, educating and counseling the problems and stress to avoid disappointment and failures in life, and seeking help from parents and peers, and looking for danger signs to take appropriate measures on time, and seeking professional and medical help whenever required. So, and different types of counseling can also be taken to prevent. Okay, so prevention is always better than cure. So this is all about the chapter. Read thoroughly and carefully. All the best. Thank you.